from every nation, from every tribe.
Hello and welcome to Running with God. We're doing part 2 of the Nephilim and the flood. And we're going to return back to Genesis in chapter 6, starting in verse 7 right off the bat. It says, "And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, a perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God." Now there is an importance to this scripture in verse 9, where it speaks about Noah and why he found grace in the eyes of the Lord. It says that he was a just man. Being a just man means that he was morally upright. He obeyed the ways of the Lord that he knew to do. It also says that Noah was perfect in his generations. And that doesn't mean that he was a perfect man and everything he did. What it means is his DNA had not been touched. It was pure. It was the way God intended when he made man. His forefathers did not have any of their DNA messed with. His DNA was not messed with, and his generations, which are his sons, they also were not messed with. So you see, if they were pure, their mother was too. So there goes the theory of that. Now, there's also another theory that says that Noah's sons' wives were impure in some way with their DNA. And I do not believe that, because God made sure that he had a good seed to come back to restore man. And there could not be anything within them tainted, because you see, our Messiah had to come from them, and we had to have that plane restored where there was purity in the bloodline, if you will, the purity in the man DNA that had not been tainted with the fallen angels or the Nephilim. Now it says that Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And we will get into their lines later on in the study more in depth. But we know that they were with Noah. And in verse 18 of chapter 6, it says, "But with thee," meaning Noah, "will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee." And in verse 22 it says, "Thus did Noah according to all God commanded him, so did he." Now we're going to look in chapter 7 for a minute, and we're going to look in beginning in verse 2. It says, "Of every clean beast thou shalt take thee by sevens, the male and his female. And of the beasts that are not clean, by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air, by sevens, the male and the female, to keep the seed alive upon the face of all the earth." Now you see, a lot of times we hear in church and in Sunday school that there are 2 by 2 going in. That is incorrect, and to have just that, because it's 2 pairs going 2 by 2 of everything that was unclean, and it was 7 pairs of everything going in 2 by 2 of the clean things. Now we're going to stop, and we're going to go back again to verse 7 of chapter 6. It says, "And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them." So this tells us what and who he's going to destroy. 1, he says he's going to destroy man. 2, he says he's going to destroy the beasts. meaning the animals. And I'm going to also include that into the crossing of the animals with the Nephilim and fallen angels and humans. And you say, that sounds weird to me, but that's the reason why. Also, the perversion that it entered in. Not only the perversion between the sons of God, being the fallen, and the daughters of men, but also between the animals. And it also tells us he's going to destroy the creeping things and the fowls of the air. Why must all of this be destroyed? Besides the perversion, we see in verse 13, and it says, "And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth." Why, you say? Well, not only was a perversion, but there was an increase of murder in men, and also violence through the giants and the Nephilim, and the animals had begun to turn on one another, and cannibalism entered into the picture between men and beasts and the Nephilim. So we have multiple reasons why that it had to be just scrubbed out and have a pure line who would serve the Lord, maybe know what happened, but not remember the ways of the enemy any longer. Now we've seen who and what God will destroy. And now we see Noah, whom we've gone over the reasons why God saw him, had grace upon him, and Noah had favor. But he was righteous. He and his family were protected, and he obeyed when the Lord commanded him to build the ark. He didn't make excuses. He just did what the Lord said. He didn't say, I don't believe you. He did what he said. He planned, and when he obeyed, the Lord kept him. I want to tell you today, there's some of you, you wonder why things are going on, and you say, I belong to the Lord. But are you obeying him where he can protect you? You know, the blessings of the Lord are sometimes conditional. They are. They are. They are conditional. And you and I must walk in the Lord in righteousness. And many times we think of the fact that after the flood was over and the rainbow appeared, that's when God made a covenant. But it clearly tells us in verse 18 that he said, I will establish my covenant. With who? With thee, with Noah and his family, because he was counted righteous, because he was obedient. Many times people want to jump in head first when they first become born again or start learning new things. But it's imperative that we start out with a good foundation. This foundation is what we build upon. We build our faith upon it, and we learn the truth so that we can share it to others without error. And that's why we are going from scratch. That's why I'm sticking to the word like I told you in the first one. Uh, we're going to look in Genesis chapter 7 in verse 21 now. Okay? And it says, And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl, of cattle, of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were in with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. So that's where I referred to earlier. The word tells us clearly no one else was with them, no one else survived. So when you're looking at these outside sources, if they do not line up with this word, then I need you to understand that that's false. I need you to pray and ask God to show you if you have learned things that are incorrect. You know, many times new believers, they're wanting to learn so much. They go to all these sources, and then it makes it harder for them to learn things that are pure and good foundations. And when we build, we need to build on the truth. And I keep saying that, but there's somebody that needs to hear that. You need to build upon the truth. It is the truth that sets us free. The wind's blowing, so I'm going to do this. It is the truth that sets us free. Ask the Lord to show you His truth. Ask Him to make the Word alive to you. Ask Him to give you wisdom and knowledge and understanding as you study on your own, as we study together in the Word. In part 3, we're going to be studying the seed of the serpent, not the seed of the serpentine, but the seed of the serpent, the seed of the Lord, and the seed of man. Thank you for joining me. See you soon.